Hello, I'm Nancy from Defiant Technologies, and today I'm going to talk to you about one of our gas chromatograph instruments, the FROG-5000, and I'm going to focus on how to load a water sample. So this is the FROG-5000. It can analyze air, soil, and water for volatile organic compounds, and as I said, today we're going to focus on the water aspect. So first, I'm going to loosen this cover here by loosening the sparge nut, and you don't need a wrench or anything to loosen or tighten this. This is all hand loosening and hand tightening. Okay, and it covers this flexible sparge needle. Okay, this is made of PEEK tubing. You want to keep this cover on when you're storing the instrument. It will prevent anything getting on the sparge needle as well as prevent it from getting damaged. So we'll take that off. Now to run water samples, we have this sparge bottle. Okay. We have this 5 ml syringe. It's a glass gas-tight syringe. We also want some sort of waste container. It doesn't need to be this beaker here, but just something to collect any wastewater. Okay. You want to put on some gloves, and what that will do is prevent anything from our hands getting into the sample, as well as to protect us if there's any excess VOCs in the water. So first, we'll get our waste container here, we'll get our sparge bottle. We want to give it a rinse, and it's helpful if you have a bottle like this little squeeze bottle here. They're fairly inexpensive, and you can find them from a lot of different chemical suppliers. We don't know exactly what this sparge bottle was used for before, so even though it may look visually clean, we still want to rinse it out. Okay. And then we're just going to thread it on this sparge needle there. We'll just leave it there for now. Now we want to rinse our 5 ml syringe, and what I'm going to do is just put my finger on the end here. Okay, that prevents any water from coming out, and then again we'll just kind of rinse from the top. Okay. And we can also rinse this off as well. Okay. And ideally, you're setting this down in a fairly clean place. You could always put down a paper towel or something. And at that point, we are ready to start sampling. All right, now that we cleaned our glassware, we are ready to load our sample. So first, what I wanted to show you is the positions of the valve on the FROG-5000. I'll just take my sparge bottle off here and just kind of angle this so that you can see it a little bit better. Okay. So we have a load water position, a run water position, and a run air position. We're not interested in air right now, so we're not going to worry about that. We're going to either load water or run water. So first, when you're loading the sample, you want the valve pointing towards load water. Then when you're ready to run your sample, you're going to turn it to run water. And I'll mention this as I go along. I just wanted you to be able to see what the valve looks like. So I'll put it back to load water. And I'll put my sparge bottle back on. Okay. All right, so here's my sample here that I've collected in a vial. And we know it's a good sample because we don't see any air bubble when I turn it upside down. If you do have an air bubble in your sample, that can be a problem because the VOCs might collect in that air bubble. So now that we know our sample is good, we have our VOCs trapped in our water, we're just going to open it up. And again, we'll take our plunger out and then just load our sample. All right, now that I have that loaded up, I loaded it past my 5 mil mark so that I can actually squeeze some of it out. That will allow you to get an accurate 5 mil sample without any air bubbles. Okay. So now I have my 5 mil sample. And I'm just going to get access to my FROG-5000 here. And this is a little lure lock attachment, so I can actually just twist this on to the right and it'll even stay there. Okay. Now, one thing to note that's very important is you need to have this sparge bottle down. You do not want to have the sparge bottle all the way up when you're loading this sample. Okay. So make sure that your sparge bottle is loose and it's down. Okay. It'll just rest on that needle there. Now, all we have to do is put in our water sample. So the water is actually coming down through the sparge needle into the sparge bottle. Okay, you can see that I've added it. And at this point then, I want to turn my valve to run water. Okay. Then I'll just put my sparge bottle all the way up until it stops and turn the sparge nut to lock it in. Okay. And at that point, my water sample has been loaded. I'm on run water. I'm ready to run my water sample. So now that we've loaded our water sample and we're ready to run it, you might be curious what it looks like when we run a water sample. Now we're going to do another video on running a water sample, so I'm not going to go into detail, but I did want to show you kind of how it looks. Okay? So what we're actually doing here when we're running a sample is Purge and Trap. Is actually a method that's done in a regular lab as well when you're looking for VOCs. So this is going to be very similar, but just on our FROG-5000 instrument. So what I'll do is actually start a run just so you can see how it looks. Okay. So right now the instrument is just getting ready to run the sample, and there's actually bubbles coming out. So right now it's actually collecting a VOC sample. So there's air being bubbled down through the sparge needle down to the bottom of the water sample, and then the VOCs are coming up to the top of the sparge bottle here and then up into the instrument. So this is just basically the Purge and Trap, and this is how we're collecting the volatile organic compounds out of the water sample.